Hello and welcome to this, the 26th in our Lent series as we approach Easter. And this is the final one because next week is Holy Week. And although we will have some sort of a summary tomorrow as part of Holy Week, this is the final one in our Lent journey. And what we've been doing, of course, over the last few days and weeks is trying to look at the way that 500 years ago in this Bible that we've looked at, there is a simple assumption that the supernatural and the natural coexist, and that part of our Christian journey is mystic and contains elements that are ethereal and just beyond our grasp, that we might experience through dreams or through prayer or through meditation. And we've set aside a few minutes each night to think about those things. Well, as a last exercise, as the last part in this voyage, I've taken an image. I deliberately didn't look up which Bible passage it was from, although I think it's fairly obvious, just so that we could take it apart a bit and allow ourselves to experience something of what was being told in this story, but from the perspective of those in history. So what have we got? Well, we have figures in the foreground apparently dancing to heavenly music. We can see the heavenly host up there in the clouds. There's clearly some sort of an eclipse going on, and something wonderful and beautiful, dreamlike, if we take the imagery from some of the previous pictures we've looked at, some sort of a dreamlike thing going on. And we also have a mixture of cultures and costumes here happening, which suggests that we're bringing everything together. And if we're bringing everything together, there might be talking about the new heaven and the new earth. So we're talking about the end of the book of Revelations. And what's very key here is that the supernatural has been fully integrated now into the lives of the individuals. Also, something has happened to the evil creatures which are presented. They are now serving the good people. There is something happening here in which there is a resolution of good and evil in the foreground, along with a resolution of the kingdom of heaven in the entirety behind, incorporating things that we would recognize from the nature of the city to things that we wouldn't recognize, like the angels up in heaven. And of course, they're the same angels that we saw way back when in the Old Testament images. It's the same angels, the same non-gender specific creatures. Actually, interestingly enough, the people in the foreground have maintained this ambiguity in their nature, a dynamic, moving humanity becoming part of the living and breathing heaven, perhaps one in which we would say there is no male and female in Christ, to quote part of Paul's writings. So that's it. We come to the conclusion of our series that we start as modern people in a modern age dealing with a polemic, a division between the world of the natural and the world of the supernatural. And during the days of Lent, and as we've thought about these things, we've asked the very simple question, has things really changed that much? Have we not still experienced strange and wonderful things in our lives? Yes, maybe we don't express it in the way that these pictures did then, but there is still part of us that understands that the world isn't two separate things. In fact, it's a series of complex things brought together. You might even use the word, I know it's a bit of a new age phrase, but we talk about a holistic experience. Well, that doesn't mean anything particularly, except for that we bring together our physical nature, our spiritual nature, our mental abilities, our rationale, our irrational, and our ability to be touched and moved and to experience emotions. Before us, the final image, the ultimate emotion, the joy and celebration on a heavenly level as we become incorporated into the kingdom of heaven and this astonishing new world. Now, even now, I think if I said to you, draw a picture of what heaven would look like, we might well struggle and we could philosophize and theologize for hours to come up with something. The artist here has very simply taken basic Christian images and placed them together into an image of unity, the coming together of different cultures and different societies, the coming together of all the other stories in the Bible, right down to the fishermen by the water and the churches in Asia. And it's all there in one place. And there in the background, something dreamlike and magical is happening. I hope you've enjoyed this series. Thank you for listening. And of course, there will be that one final one through West Herts and Borders Facebook page next week.